So what's the Grape Explorer talking about today? So if you've been following our episodes, a lot of times I talk about wine regions that a lot of people have not heard about, and I try to give them a chance because I think that, I'm a very adventurous kind of guy when it comes to wine, and I like to learn too. So I hope there's some people out there that feel the same way and as passionate as me about finding and discovering areas. We're going to talk about one of those areas today, and it's all the way in the southwest of France here. And it's called Jurancon. Jurancon right here in the pink. Right here you can see Jurancon. And right in this area, this is the Pyrenees Mountains here. The Pyrenees range. So you're quite close to Spain because Spain is right here. But this area, as I say, doesn't really get a lot of attention by a lot of wine writers. It doesn't get a lot of attention by even retailers who don't really spend the time discussing these wines. I love Jurancon. I've been very passionate about the wines of Jurancon. At one time, I was also involved importing Domaine de Coppet, which is one of the finest producers of Jurancon. And, I just love those wines and adored them. But we picked out a producer here that we wanted to talk about. And I'll give you a little bit of a highlight about this producer. So I'm so glad I found it. So this is Kohl. And this is a Jurancon sec, and I'm going to explain a little bit about the label here, so you can see that it says, obviously this is where it's from, Jurancon, but it's also, when you talk about the producer, it's a sec because this area makes very, very good sweet wines, almost like Sauterne in style, but there's two different grapes that we're going to talk about. But I also want to zoom in a little bit on this blue area because now we're going to point out to you exactly where this vineyard is on the map because we found it, we highlighted it, but we're also going to talk about the two grapes that grow there. Actually, there's three: Gros Manseng, Petit Manseng, and Kohl. And usually the wines here are Gros Manseng and Petit Manseng, to give these wines a beautiful expression. This, I guess, you're in the Pyrenees now, so you got mountainous. We're talking mountain fruit here. You also, which is very fascinating, Atlantic Ocean right here. So you get that maritime. You get those maritime breezes, like we talked about here in Bordeaux. The white Bordeaux's here in Grave get that maritime Atlantic push here from the breezes to cool the area down a bit. The same exact area of Jurancon gets that maritime kind of climate here to create what I would call just a beautiful expression of white wine. Again, these are two grapes that you don't see too often. They don't get highlighted. Of course, everybody knows Sauvignon Blanc and they know Chardonnay, but nobody knows Gros Manseng or Petit Manseng. So that's why I always say you got to give these wines a little bit of a try. These are limestone soils with clay, so you're going to get a lot of that mineral tone that you get especially in Bordeaux when you're tasting Sauvignon and Semillon in Grave. But right off the bat, I can smell the calcareous, which is the limestone, which just jumps out at you. This is a beautiful property, by the way. So this is very old school people creating this particular wine. But I was just kind of taken aback a little bit about the production of Jurancon because, they obviously, what they do is they wait until October and sometimes into November. And some of the grapes that they don't want to harvest to make the dry wines here, they harvest to make the sweet because you get botrytis that happens exactly like in Sauterne. So you get the botrytis in Sauterne here. And of course you get the botrytis here that affects the grapes. We call it noble rot, and it makes these beautiful sweet wines in Jurancon. They say probably the best wine that goes with foie gras in the world. So we're not saying that Sauterne isn't as well, but I've had people that actually say that Jurancon, the sweet wines, rival Sauterne in many, many ways. It's just a lot of people don't know these wines. So let's taste this wine a little bit. Wow, that's completely unique and different than a lot of the white wines in France. You really get a lot of that mineral tone expression, but you get a lot of that, it's like lemon lime kind of quality to the fruit, which is completely different. You don't get that orchard fruit that you get like with Sauvignon Blanc, but it does have that little lemon zest, which is completely unique to the wines. And wow, these are perfect wines with fish or any type of shellfish. Of course, you're very close to the ocean here, so I wouldn't mind having some shellfish here and have some Jurancon with it to create what's probably a beautiful experience. Again, this is Southwest France. I also wanted to bring up, you know, this area is quite close to Lourdes in France, so I've had a chance to visit this area. The Shrine of Lourdes is quite famous. Pau is the biggest city here. As you can see on the map, we kind of can show you right here the cities. And this is a beautiful area of France. If you ever want to get a chance to drive down to this area, you get the beautiful, the Pyrenees Mountains. You get beautiful properties that are located right in the mountains. And it's a part of France that really, a lot of people don't get a chance because it's kind of far away, you know, but you're close to Biarritz over here. So this is a very fashionable place to hang out in the summertime. Biarritz right on the coast. But if you ever really want to try a really terrific wine, I consider this to be the finest white wines in all of the Southwest area. It's called Jurancon. Again, this is a Grape Explorer, always trying to identify beautiful, beautiful wines in France. Cheers.